Although everyone, most likely Muslims, will experience another unnecessary grief but has repeatedly occurred due to difference in commencing Ramadan or Shawwal. Worse still, the split will most likely occur in 3 consecutive years in 2012, 2013, and 2014. The cause is a condition that the crescent will be very low at the end of the month of Shaban in these 3 consecutive years. In this animation, we will analyze the astronomical data to end Shaban or to start the month of Ramadan 1433 or 2012. For the purposes of astronomical data analysis, 13 cities randomly scattered but fairly represent the various meridian longitudes around the globe have been selected. Those cities complete with their geographic coordinates are given in the following table. 1. Christmas Island, Kiribati. 2. Baihu, Tuvalu. 3. Port Moresby, PNG. 4. Makassar, Indonesia. 5. Jakarta, Indonesia. 6. Dhaka, Bangladesh. 7. Muscat, Oman. 8. Kampala, Uganda. 9. Accra, Ghana. 10. Natal, Brazil. 11. Georgetown, Guyana. 12. Galapagos Islands, Ecuador. 13. San Diego, California. Geographical position of the 13 points can be seen on Google Earth map as follows. In the previous module, it has been shown that the window to conduct moon sighting is actually very narrow. Table 2. In addition to showing the characteristics of the crescent at sunset of July 19, 2012, it also indicates the percentage of window to make moon sighting within the 24-hour presence of the crescent between two sunsets of July 19 to 2012. The astronomical information in Table 2 can be obtained from Accurate Times program by Odama O'Day of George. It should be emphasized that the narrowness of the window to do moon sighting actually applies to any point on Earth's surface. In Table 2, the window ranges from 0.14% to 2.29%. Indeed, the values appear in this column only consider the visibility potential for the crescent at sunset on July 19, 2012, and did not include the visibility potential of the crescent at sunset on July 20, 2012 because whether or not the crescent is visible on the sunset of July 20, 2012, it will not take effect because the Prophet has secured that the number of days in the Islamic calendar is either 29 or 30 days. It is impossible to deviate from this astronomical law. It is therefore quite clear that the provision for moon sighting is actually only for unlettered people who do not have access to science and technology. Among other indications are 1. The order of a 6 small or 2 complete 30 days is actually in order to secure that Muslims will not have the number of days in the Islamic month to exceed 30 days in the case that the crescent is in the obscurity of clouds, haze, and so forth. 2. It is impossible for the Prophet to position his people in a very difficult position to do moon sighting in the above mentioned extremely narrow window, while there are high risks that his people would miss the day of fasting or even fasting on the day of the forbidden. It should be emphasized that the Prophet has explained that Islam is easy and not to burden the people. We are very confident God should have been, through the angel Gabriel, taught the Prophet even the high complexity of astronomical phenomena. The only constraint was the people at that time had not been in an appropriate cognition level to understand this explanation, and therefore the Prophet then positioned himself with the people who were still unlettered. Table 2 does not only show points when the crescent has a positive altitude that is above the local horizon that the sun set on July 19, 2012, but also points when the crescent altitude is still negative. For further analysis, The latter points will not be included in the following discussion because the prerequisites defined by instance 39 to 40 are not met by these 3 points. See highlighted cells in red. The 3 excluded points are 1. Christmas Island, Kiribati, 2. Vahu, Tuvalu, 3. Dhaka, Bangladesh. It therefore dismissed the notion to say that the series of animation modules have wrongly embraced the global appearance of crescent for the whole globe once the crescent occurs in a spot on the Earth's surface. There are also some people who commented that the most important prerequisite is the establishment of International Lunar Dayline ILDL. Actually, the idea of obtaining ILDL is a rather simple problem for those who have learned computer programming. If the calculations to obtain the astronomical data in table 2 above is performed at thousands of points spread evenly over the surface of the Earth, and this can be done by an appropriate do loop, there will then be a database of thousands of points with information of positive and negative altitude of the crescent. By simple interpolation, one will be able to calculate points that have 0 crescent altitude. ILDL is constructed by connecting these points. A rather complicated matter occurs as ILDL in a lunar calendar system, e.g. Islamic calendar is changing from 1 month to the next. Thus, ILDL is to be calculated every month. On the contrary, in a solar calendar system, e.g. Gregorian calendar, because it ignores the moon's behavior in the calculation of the number of days in a month, people can easily reach an agreement in establishing the International Dayline IDL. International Convention had set the Greenwich Meridian as the 0 point dividing the globe as IDL. With the requirement in mastering science and technology for the calculation of ILDL, it became clear that the construction of the Islamic calendar can be done purely with astronomical calculation without having to involve moon sighting. Table 3 shows the characteristics of the crescent in 2 consecutive sunsets on July 19 to 20, 2012. The astronomical data from columns 4 to 7 can produce information in columns 8 and 9. Accordingly, in this table we will use the height of the crescent of the easternmost point of Fort Morphy in Papua New Guinea. The reference 1. At the sunset of July 19, 2012, the altitude of the crescent in Fort Morphy will be positive 0.8 degrees. 2. The thickness of the crescent on the sunset of July 19, 2012 will be 0.04 minutes. 3. That sunset the next day on July 20, 2012, the crescent altitude in Fort Morphy will be positive 12.6 degrees, while the thickness of the crescent will be 0 for 5 minutes. Thus, between these 2 sunsets, the thickness of the crescent will increase at a growth rate of 0.017 minutes per hour, while the angular velocity of the apparent orbit of the moon will be 14.51 degrees per hour. Based on this information, Table 4 is a timeline of changes in the characteristics of the crescent that is prepared with reference to post-Morphy. 1. Due to time zone differences between Fort Morphy and Makassar is 4 hours. That sunset of July 19th in Makassar at 18:05, the local Fort Morphy time will be 22:04 hours. 2. Thus, the age of the crescent with reference to sunset in Fort Morphy is 2 hours. 3. With the thickness growth rate of the crescent at 0.017 minutes per hour and moon's orbit rate of 14.51 degrees per hour, the thickness of the crescent with reference to Fort Morphy at the moment of sunset in Makassar are new moon altitude equals negative 28.2 degrees west, and the crescent thickness equals 0.07 minutes. Thus, the moon has grown thicker by 85%. Of course, the local astronomical data in Makassar as shown in columns 6 and 7 is different position of the tube. Thus, its viewing angle is different. 5. If we continue this calculation until the age of the crescent, about 10 hours, with reference to sunset of July 19th in Port Moresby, the crescent will be at altitude of negative 35.7 degrees east with 0.21 minute thickness, or about 427% thicker than it was at sunset of July 19th in Port Moresby. After 10 hours, the local time in Port Moresby will be 6:19 hours before dawn on July 20th, 2012. Of course, during the 10-hour travel from the sunset of July 19th until 6:19 on July 20th, the position of the new moon will be in different hemispheres, so that Muslims in Port Moresby will not be able to see the crescent, although it is already very large. 6. For unlettered people who only believe in the existence of the crescent just after physically seeing it, they should be able to find the narrow window in the other hemisphere in Table 4 above. The window is available in a cross-gunning. 7. We can proceed until around the time of your third at 13:55 hours on July 20th, 2012. The crescent is now approximately 769% thicker. Of course, the crescent will not be visible either because the sunlight intensity will be very strong in the middle of the day. 8. Despite the extremely large crescent, for Muslims who position themselves as unlettered people, they will only believe in the presence of the crescent when they physically see it on the sunset of July 20th, 2012. 9. The question is, are you really unlettered people who are unable to calculate, nor have no access to information? In conclusion, the beginning of Islamic month can be purely determined based on the astronomical calculation without having to be verified by moon sighting. Moon sighting method is only necessary when we do not have access to technology, and the astronomical calculation imkan-rukyat, which requires a minimum crescent altitude of 2 degrees, is also of no use because it will prevent Muslims from fasting on the day that is mandatory to fast. Will you be included as people who will not fast at the first Ramadan 1433 between dawn to sunset of July 20th, 2012? Please be extra cautious, as it is mandatory to fast on that day, as crescent will be quite large. Please distribute this animation to your friends and relatives if you love them, so that they will fast on the day that has been mandatory to fast.